Hi, and welcome to this week's business updates from the consulting room. So we've talked many times about how networking, having a good network of business owners, businesses that can support you, and collaboration. For those of you who've been on some of our workshops, the mouse and the Anschwillian hand axe will know that story. Well, here's a great collaboration between Primark and Greggs. Not necessarily the most natural of bedfellows, you might say, but together they are creating fashion, and also they're creating a cafe in a Primark store. So it just goes to show collaboration and networking really does work, even in the most strangest of places. So don't close your eyes or your ears to opportunities. Talk a lot about inflation and rising of prices, and whether you're reviewing your gross profit percentage, how is it affecting your business? Well, Pret have taken the step of increasing their monthly subscription by £5 from £20 to £25. Now, some might say that's a 25% increase. And as you can imagine, when you're rising prices in your business, there's always the concern about the impact and the feedback. Pret have been on the front foot, obviously a very in-your-face company and very well known, so that in itself is important. They've actually broken down what that £5 covers. And they've also had some great customer feedback in people saying, actually, we'd pay £40 for this subscription, because in their mind, 5 drinks a day at Pret standard prices equates to more than £150 a month in value. So rising prices doesn't have to always be negative. You do think about how you have to present it, and goes back to the always important, what value are you giving to your customer? How do they perceive the value that you're offering? So there's a good way of raising prices from Pret a Manger. So customer habits, we talk about, what's the political environment? We've been through a lot of change over the last few years. We talk about technological advances. And obviously, some of those can have an impact on your income. Now, here's an interesting story about the UK HMRC and a potential £35 billion black hole. Because currently, if you drive a electric vehicle, then there's no duty, and there's no fuel duty either. So there's no car tax, no fuel duty. So from that perspective, what you've got here is the potential, as we reduce the number of diesel and petrol cars, that the government will have a huge black hole, and they need to think about how they therefore bring in the revenue that will need replacing. So do you have a black hole in the future, or can you actually drive more income by being aware of changing consumer habits? I think we're going to have to see some changes to our HMRC income over the next few years. Otherwise, tax rises are the only way. So obviously an input and output issue. So how important is being green? Currently, most companies talk about it, and then they sort of action it in their own way, and there's a lot of work going on in the background. The Which, the magazine, have actually published a league table of supermarket sustainability. And here we have Waitrose and Lidl at the top with 74 out of 100, and Iceland propping up the table. As usual with league tables, as we know from sport, the manager at the bottom always complains that there's some unfairness in the reporting or in the way that the tables are put together. So how would you fare if your business was put onto a league table for green? More importantly, is it important to you? Is it something that even crosses your mind? Not judging either way, but here's one where whether they like it or not, supermarkets are being judged and ranked. And interestingly, I'm not saying it's because of this, but there is a benefit of track, rank and publish, or TRAP as good old sales speak there. It does work, because Tesco's now, whether that was before or after the report came out, who knows, have started to use battery powered delivery lorries. They're using them in South Wales on an 18-mile stretch between their train deliveries and their depots, but that will have a huge impact on their carbon footprint, because did you realise that 5% of the UK's carbon emissions is by HGV? So it's really important that we reduce our HGV emissions to have the impact of net carbon neutral by 2050, which is the UK's focus. But going back to the track, rank and publish, what is it in your business that you need to track? You need to talk to your team about making sure they're achieving, and maybe putting a league table up on who is actually doing the best in a certain area, and what impact will that have on the performance of the business as a whole. Oh dear, is it time to leave Facebook? Should we all be looking for different ways and places to put our business and our ads? I don't think so. But it's one thing to be aware that even with such a successful business as Facebook, they've seen their first decline in active users in 18 years. Now, nothing to worry about from our perspective. For those of us who are on the social media platform, there are still 1.9 billion users per day in the 3 months to the end of December. Now, that is a decline from 1.93 to 1.929, but it's just showing that maybe with TikTok, YouTube and other social media sites growing and having competition, that it is affecting Facebook. So have you got alternatives? Are you on TikTok? Have you got a YouTube channel? Maybe not. Maybe you should think about it. What's your competition doing to oust you and to take some of your business from you? Are you aware of it? And what's the actions? Facebook lost 20% of its value on the back of these numbers, which is quite eye-watering and incredible. So it just shows the impact of data to business markets and businesses. So a couple of updates. We've got the business support program starting on the 23rd of February. So if you're a small business, 3 years old or less in Newark and Sherwood region, we've got the opportunity to support you, fully funded by Newark and Sherwood Council. And if you're in manufacturing or construction, there's the business resilience program starting in March. So for more information, please contact us on the following details. Thank you for your time and have a great week. All the best.